Everybody, this is Praxis. One of the great things about moving out to the country is access to so much more wildlife than you tend to see in a city. When you're in a city, you get rats and pigeons and cockroaches, and I haven't honestly ever lived in a city myself, but those are the rumors that you hear. When you come out to the country, there's all sorts of other animals that you might be interacting with. Here in New England, we have things like squirrels and chipmunks, and there's mice and voles and moles and deer and raccoons and porcupines, black bears. There's even rumors here in New England that we have cougar that have moved into the area. I don't know whether that's true or not, but I have seen some evidence that it might be the case. But one of the animals that is perhaps the most enjoyable to watch are birds, and that's what I want to talk about in this video. Because we live out here, we want to take advantage of the fact, for my family and my boy to be able to, appreciate the nature that we see. So we got a couple of these bird feeders that mount right onto the window to bring the animals right up to the window so you can see them really, I was going to use the word intimately, but I don't want to be weird about it. But I mean, like, to have that lack of separation. I know in the past I used to have a house and I would put little peanuts out for the squirrels, and it was really neat seeing the squirrels right up against the glass. I had a compost heap that was next to a downstairs window, and that downstairs window was a window of a bedroom, so you'd be able to see different animals come up and rummaging through the compost. We had a whole family of baby raccoons come to it one day. In fact, that's one of the big things about compost. Everyone's like nervous. It's like, oh no, if I put compost outside, I'm going to be attracting animals to my house. And I'm like, what an awful situation to have a family of baby raccoons come up. So I think that's a real positive. And I thought it'd be really positive to have birds coming up to the house. These are really inexpensive bird feeders that go together pretty easily. They come in this kind of neat little triangular package. You can put all sorts of different seeds in here. In fact, it's kind of like a buffet. You can have different types of seeds for different types of birds. We're just going with kind of corn grits because that's what I tend to sprinkle out on the grass when there's birds, and the birds around here all seem to enjoy those. But one thing that's been kind of a little bit of a surprise with this particular setup is that we haven't witnessed any birds coming to these feeders. Now, there's a couple of reasons for that, perhaps. One is, maybe the glass itself is, frightening them in some way. Although, one of the reasons that I leave screens on these windows all the time, even in the winter, is because we've actually had a bit of an issue with birds flying right into the glass. I guess they think it's like not a window, but they think it's like a hole that they can just fly through. And if we put the screens on the windows, it seemed like that was stopping them from thinking that they could just fly right through that area. So I'm not really sure if the windows themselves are frightening them away, or maybe the sound from the house. Although that said, I'm standing right on the ground, and we frequently have birds kind of pecking at the ground right around the windows. I'm not sure why, but we haven't had any birds come to them yet. But I think it's a really cool idea to bring the stuff right up to the window. And in fact, we have had some local wildlife all over this bottom tray here, which is a little bit of a surprise. It was a bunch of mosquito-like creatures. And it's not because we had any pooling going on in here. In fact, these things work really, really well to shield the seeds on the inside from getting wet, so they're not like sprouting and turning into a soup. And this is under the drip edge of a roof, so the manufacturer did a really good job of kind of making this design and making it so that it really protects the seeds. And this is the lowest extension that you can create. These are kind of collapsible. They can get shorter or taller if you want bigger birds or smaller birds, if you wanted to kind of focus it to one or the other. And these are opened up for their largest aperture, which is going to make it even the most likely that this thing would ever get wet on the inside. And we've never had water pooling in there. It was kind of weird seeing all the mosquitoes in there, but I think it's really great if you get out into the country to actually appreciate the assets of it. There are all sorts of downsides to moving out to the country, like there's a lot of great restaurants that are in the city. When you come out to the country, you don't have nearly as much in terms of options for that. And the same goes for cultural things, museums, things of that nature. But there are a lot of upsides. So if you do move out to the country, make sure you actually take advantage of them. Put out food so you can feed the local animals. Take the opportunity to kind of get outside and appreciate what you've moved out into. I think a lot of times people will flee away from the city. If they have a negative experience in the city and they want to try to live in a different area, they'll oftentimes run out into the country, and because they're running away from something and not towards something, oftentimes they'll have kind of like was it buyer's remorse or mover's remorse, where they'll feel like I thought that it was going to be different, but I was unhappy in the country. They end up moving back into the city. It's much more effective, instead of trying to run away from something, try to run towards something. And one of the great things that we have here in the country is a lot of wildlife, and bird feeders like this are one way to see it. If you're interested in these types of bird feeders, I'll put a link in the description below to the ones that I've got here. But however you do it, whatever the method is, whether it's this or just sprinkling some peanuts on your windowsill, I think it's really important, if you do move out to the country, take advantage of it and really enjoy the assets that are out here. That's it. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe for new videos all the time, and if you'd like to support this channel, you can do so either through Patreon or PayPal.